it happens, that is adverbs of place, yes, and how it happens, what we call adverbs of manner, and also how often the action repeats, which is adverbs of frequency, those common words that we use, always, usually, sometimes, never, ever, seldom, etc. Yeah? And also the degree, by telling us the degree, to what extent does something happen. Is it extremely, very, to? These words are also what? Adverbs. And not only that, our focus was that when we talk about adverbs, we say that an adverb is a word that modifies a verb, and also it modifies an adjective, right? And another adverb. Another adverb. Okay? When we talk about adverb, we are talking about the word that gives more detail or more information about these three, right? Last time, if you remember, we have seen how it modifies a verb, an adjective, and an adverb, another adverb, right? Okay, then after that, after we define an adverb, we also have seen how to compare an action using adverbs, right? That means what? Comparative adverbs. When we talk about these comparative adverbs, if you remember, we classify adverbs into three. Yes? What are they? Yes, yes, yes? Yeah, the first one, they were the regular ones, yeah? Regular adverbs. These are the short adverbs that add ER or IER on their comparative degree and EST or IEST on the superlative degree, right? You remember that, yes? Do you remember the words like heavy, heavier, good, or heaviest, light, lighter, lightest, high, higher, and highest, late, later, and latest. Wonderful. And the second one, the second type are those that end, yes, those that end with the suffix ly. Most of these words, they have come from adjectives. Look, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful is an adjective. It modifies a person or a noun. Then to make it an adverb, we add ly and it become what? Beautifully. Yes? Slow. This, when you add ly at the end, it becomes slowly, which is an adverb, right? Careful, carefully. These are the longest adjectives that has more than one syllable. Okay? More than one syllable means we can't say them with a single breath. All right? So these are the second type of adverbs, and the third type are the irregular ones. The first ones are the regular, and these ones are the irregular adverbs. These irregular adverbs, they are adverbs that totally change their size or their shape, right? For example, if you see the word well, on its comparative degree, it become what? Better. Good. Better. Very good. And superlative? Wonderful. Best. Yeah? Not only that, we also try to see some examples under the irregular verbs like badly, worse, and worst. Far, farther, farthest. Yeah? So these are the type of adverbs that we use to compare with two things, which is comparative adverbs, how an action happened between two things, all right? And superlative, which means by using for these ones, for example, when you compare for these ones, beautifully, you say what? More beautifully. More beautifully. All right? Or in the superlative case, we say most beautifully. Most beautifully. Okay? And when it comes to the regular ones, it is simply what? Adding ER or IER. Yeah? In the case of, for example, fast, we say Faster, nice, faster. And superlative, fastest, wonderful. Good. And these were how we used to compare using the adverbs. That was last week's lesson. And today we're going to see a new topic. Are you ready for that? Good. Our today's topic, it is about paragraphs. Do you remember the type of paragraphs that we have seen so far? Yeah, so far with me, we have seen two types of paragraphs. Yes? The first one was the descriptive paragraph. Yes? The second one, expository paragraph. In the two types of paragraphs, we have seen some common characteristics. That is, the two paragraphs, all right? Look, paragraph. The common feature of a paragraph is what? It has a topic or topic sentence, right? Then there are also two or more than two sentences that give or that support the topic sentence, and we call them supportive or detailed sentences. Yes? And the third one, which you find at the end of your paragraph, is called conclusion. Good. Conclusion. These were the common features of a paragraph, because we said that a paragraph is a group of sentences with a coherent ideas or flow of ideas, right? All right, so today we're going to see the third type of paragraph, which is narrative paragraph. Yes? Narrative paragraph. After this lesson, you will be able to write short paragraphs, or you can narrate a story, yeah, and you write it correctly using or including the components that we get in narrative paragraph. Are you ready? Let's go. Okay. Narrative paragraph. Narrative paragraph. Narrative. Narrative means to narrate. To narrate. What does it mean? To narrate means to tell. To tell. So under narrative paragraphs, we find short events. Yes? Short events. Events that you want to tell. Past events, all right? And you find stories. Since we are talking about not narrative essay, this time it is narrative paragraph. So what we mention here are the short parts, okay? So we have what? The short events. We have stories and life experiences. Life experiences. You can tell one of your experiences in the form of narrative paragraph. So, to narrate means what? To tell. To tell what? To tell a past event. To tell an event in a paragraph. When you say to narrate, it means to tell. To tell what? To tell a short story. To tell a story in the form of a paragraph. When you say to narrate, it means to tell. To tell what? To tell your life experiences. Right? So that's what we meant by narrative paragraphs. Okay? Just like the other paragraphs, this narrative paragraph, it has also its own components that we shouldn't miss. Okay? These are, the first one, it needs to have a topic. First, topic sentence. Okay? Topic sentence. Since we are talking about events that are narrating or stories that we are telling, some people call it beginning. Beginning. A beginning of a story or a beginning of an event. okay? And then it also needs to have details, all right? Details. Then what happened next? What do you want to tell us about that, about the topic? What are your explanations? Maybe it is supported with one or more than one sentence. It doesn't matter, all right? And then finally, yes, we have conclusion or end. End of story. Yeah? Have you ever heard people say at the end of their speech, they say end of story? That means over. Or in the case of paragraph, we call it what? Conclusion. Okay? These are the main components that we shouldn't miss while we write or while we're writing narrative paragraphs. Let me tell you a very short story or a short event that I experienced last Sunday with my son. Okay? Let me tell you that. Look. Last Sunday, yes, I went to Unity Park with my son. Last Sunday, I went to Unity Park with my son. This is a true story, okay? Give attention. We have seen a beautiful flower garden, which I never forget. Flower garden. We have seen a beautiful flower garden, and we have also visited the animals kept in the museum, in the zoo, in the zoo. You see? And let me tell you a different experience that I have seen for the first time. Yeah? My son and we have seen a white lion. We have seen a white lion. A white lion. I think there were 6 or 4 white lions there. We have seen a white lion for the first time. For the first time. Not only that, there were also zebras, yeah, and different animals. And we also, yeah, drink coffee, and visited the whole compound, the whole compound. We really had a great time. We really had a great time. A great time we never forget. Look at this. Look at this sentence. Let me say it again to you, all right? Last Sunday, since I began with the time adverb, last Sunday, I went to Unity Park with my son. We have seen a beautiful flower garden, and we have also visited the animals kept in the zoo, all right? We have seen a white lion for the first time, okay? We also drink coffee and visited the whole compound with amazing view, and we really had a great time we never forget. I am now from these three telling you what? My life experience. This is my experience, yeah? This is what I have done on Sunday. And how do I begin? I begin by saying what? Last Sunday I went to Unity Park with my son. And this sentence is what? The topic sentence. Or, in the case of a story, it is what? The beginning. Okay, I went to Unity Park with my son. Then what happened? Yeah, as a reader, you expect a detail. That's what comes on the second part, details. First detail. We have seen a beautiful flower garden, which is very speechless. You can't tell the garden, by the way. And we have also visited animals kept in the zoo. Not only that, there was also an aquarium. You can also visit fishes, different fishes, yeah? Different fish. We have seen a white lion for the first time, yeah? It is obvious to see the normal colored lion, which is gray or yellow lions, yeah? And for the first time, we have seen what? A white lion, another detail. We also drink coffee and visited the whole compound, another detail. How many details do I have? Look, the first detail, we have seen, okay, let's do it this way. We have seen a beautiful flower garden. This is detail 1, all right? Okay, then, and we have also visited the animals kept in the zoo. This is another detail 2, all right. We have seen a white lion for the first time, which is a third detail. Okay, wonderful. Then, we also drink coffee and visited the whole compound. It is another detail 4. And we really had a great time, and never forget is end of story. You see? Simply, just by telling your life experience or by telling what you have been through, you can write what? A narrative paragraph. But I'm sure most of the time when your teachers or people ask you to write a paragraph, you may feel like it's difficult, yes? No, it's not difficult. Just pick up a title or a topic, and then assume or think the additional details that you want to add in your topic and give it a generalization or conclusion. Okay? Simply, I make what? I make a very short narrative paragraph with a topic sentence and 4 details and then a conclusion. Is it clear? I'm sure it is clear, but to make it very clear, let me give you a guide or a short way of writing a narrative paragraph. Follow me this time. Okay, this is the guide to write narrative paragraph. Narrative paragraph. A guide means a way, yeah? I'm going to show you a short way to write a paragraph. This short way is called, look, someone or something, someone or something, okay? Someone or something, yeah? And then what someone wants, or wanted, sorry, what someone wanted, since we are talking about something which happened in the past, or what someone did, one of the two, okay? Then the other one is but, yes? Or what else, or what next? What next? Okay? Then the other is so. So means we are coming to the solution for our bet. Yeah? Okay. And the last one, then. Or finally. We use this pattern and we can simply write a paragraph. Just give a topic, give a title, and then pick out someone or something. Then think on what happened or what you wanted. And then what is the plot, what is the story, but or what next. And so come to the solution and finalize it. This time it is what? The conclusion. All right? Okay, these three, look, someone or something is about the beginning, or in the case of a paragraph, we call it what? Topic, right? Topic, sentence. Okay. Then the rest means what? What wanted or did, but or next, and then so. These three, they are called what? Details. Details or supportive sentences. And the last one, the last pattern, this one is called conclusion. Okay, let's think of something. What do you want us to write? Just come up with any title. Let us say simply my lost tooth. My lost. Now, my topic is, or my title is, my lost tooth. This is a common experience of you. Yes? Yeah, my lost tooth. Now, let's get on the table. The first column contains this one, someone or something. Someone or something, okay? All right. Then, let's go to the next column. And the next column, as you see here, it is what? Wanted or happened. What happened to someone or something? Then we write it here in this column. And then, look, the third step is but or next. Yeah? But or next. Okay. What happened next? All right? And then the other one is so. We are almost running to the edge, to the last part. So, yes? And we need to have what? We need to have conclusion. So we say what? Then or finally. All right. Look. So, this is the pattern that we're going to follow to write a narrative paragraph about my lost tooth. So this time, what is going to be here on our beginning? Someone or something? Obviously, it is something. So, my lost tooth. Okay? Let's see, or let's write what happened to my lost tooth. A little girl, or you can make it boy. It doesn't matter. Okay? Then, what happened next is, or what does that person wanted? To show my wobbly tooth to my friends, to my friend. And next, or but, look, it fell out while I was eating an apple. Eating an apple. Okay? Then let's come to the next, which is so. All right, so I looked for it on the floor. Too bad. On the floor. Yeah? Okay. Finally, what happened? I found it. All right? I found it and showed it to my mom. She was proud. She was proud. Let's end it here. Okay, let's see. Now what have we written? On the beginning or on our topic sentence, yes, it says it is a little girl, or you can say by yourself, I. All right? You can say I, which means if you are telling your story. What do you want? I, and then what do you want? To show my wobbly tooth to my friends. My wobbly means unstable tooth. Yeah? All right. To show my wobbly tooth to my friends. So what happened? But it fell out while I was eating an apple. Too sad. Yeah? Okay, then what do you do? So I looked for it on the floor. Good. And finally, I found it and showed it to my mom. She was proud. Okay. Only one thing that I want you to do. Write this down in the way that I was reading it in a paragraph form. Let me give you 3 minutes. 3 minutes is over. I am sure you have written it in a good way. Let's write it together, okay? Let's make the topic our topic. Let's say I, all right? I, okay. I'm sure you start by saying like this. And then I wanted, what do you want? Here it says what? To show my wobbly tooth, my wobbly tooth to my friends. Okay, so what happened? But it fell out. It fell out while I was eating an apple. Okay, then what comes next? So I looked for it on the floor. Okay, then what do you do finally? Then yes, I found it and showed it to my mom. Okay, she was proud. Wow, isn't that amazing? We just make a paragraph just like that in a simple way. Which way do we use? Someone, something, wanted or happened, but what next? So, and conclusion. Here, when you want to see your paragraph, what do we have? I wanted to show my wobbly tooth to my friends is our topic or our beginning of the story, right? Okay, then, but it fell out while I was eating an apple is one detail or supporting sentence, and so I looked for it on the floor is another detail, yes? So we have come to the end. What do we say? Then I found it and showed it to my mom. She was proud. You see? You can use this structure and put your plot or your story in this table form, and finally you can gather it in a paragraph way, simply in a short way here. This one is very easy way of writing a narrative paragraph. Remember, a narrative paragraph means a paragraph that tells a story, life experience, or short events that happened in the past, okay? In this narrative paragraph, just like the other paragraphs, there are 3 components that we don't need to miss. These are the first one, the topic sentence, or in the case of a story, a beginning, and then the supportive or the details, what happened, and then the conclusion or end of story, okay? These are the parts of narrative paragraph, and this is also a short way of writing a paragraph. Someone or something wanted or did or happened, but then what happened or what next, so, and finally, or then. This is a simple way of practicing to write narrative paragraph. Now it's going to be your turn, and I'm going to give you some topics that you're going to narrate using this form and then come up to a paragraph. All right? That's going to be your homework. Don't forget that. Okay. Homework. All right. Use the technique the technique, the simple technique, what is that? Somebody or something, then wanted or happened, wanted or happened. All right, then but or next, so or so and finally or then. Okay, use this technique and write a narrative paragraph from one of the following topics. One, my summer vacation. 2, my KG school. 3, my English lesson yesterday. Okay, you can pick one of the 3. My summer vacation. What have you been summer? You don't necessarily have to go out of Addis or out of your city, okay? But what have you done? What different experience have you got on your summer vacation? Yeah, you can write that by using this pattern and then come up to a paragraph form. Or my KG school. From your KG school, you can tell us one event that makes you laugh or that you never forget at all. Or you can tell us about what happened yesterday in your classroom, my English lesson yesterday. What happened there? Yeah? You can pick one of the 3 and then write it down in this pattern and gather it in a paragraph form. Or if you like doing this, I'm sure you enjoy writing narrative paragraph, you can also write in all of these titles. Okay? That's all what I have for today, which is narrative. Paragraph, next time, in the case of a paragraph, we will see the 4th one, which is argumentative paragraph. Until then, don't forget to practice.